I wanted to ask about another challenge of switching out of academic mode other than register.
Yeah.
Which is that we tend to try to problematize things all the time. And that can make it difficult if you are positioned in a way that you're a counterpoint to somebody who has a very simplistic way of looking at something.
Yeah.
So an example that I would think of would be something like if I'm trying to argue for bilingual education. And it's very easy for somebody to say, this is our country and you need to speak our language. And then for me to say, well, I can see where you're coming from, but on the other hand, like, no, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
So how do you not do that, but also do justice to the complexity that you know exists?
I think there are like small linguistic shibboleths that you can pass that let linguists who are reading you be like, oh yes, this person does know how the thing works, that fly below the radar of average people, and then which let you make some compromises on the other stuff. So for example, if I'm doing something about sounds, like I can't use IPA. The general public does not know IPA. It would be nice if they did, but I can't. What I can do is I can avoid like confusing respelling systems, right? So you can't be like the sound AH, because that's not a sound. We don't know what that means. Like we don't know how that is. You can use instead, you can use like keywords. So you want to say like the A in father, or the, and like make sure you're using words. You can't say like the I in cot, because who knows what word that is. So if you pick your keywords for respelling very carefully, the linguist can be like, ah yes, this person has well-defined the sounds that they're using, and I can map it directly onto IPA, even if they haven't used IPA right here. You can kind of, like, you can acknowledge the complexity that exists by just passing all the complexity bars without actually referring to, well, it would be nice if I could use this symbol, but I'm afraid I can't, so I'm just going to do, like, you don't have to complain about not being able to use IPA every time. I think Erica Okren does a really good job at this at Mental Floss. Like if you read her articles at Mental Floss, like she has a PhD in linguistics from UChicago, and she, writes a lot of articles with like kind of clickbaity headlines, and oh, this is exciting, how do you think about language? And yet when you read them, you just have this feel that this is a person who knows what they're talking about, even if she's, had to skip over a couple areas that are too complex. I think, like, even the linguist bar for what a general public explanation looks like is so low right now because we're used to having like actively wrong things in it, or things that actively make us cringe, that if you just don't say actively wrong things, but you do end up having to gloss over some of the differences somewhere, you can actually problematize things a lot less than you think you need to based on like academic practices. Another thing you can do is if you write a simple article for one place, and you have a website or a blog, you can post a link to it saying, so I didn't include X, Y, and Z, but look, I'm still a good scholar. I know I could have. Here's what they actually are. I've proven to myself that I can do this. If anybody like has any beef with me, you can see on my website that I actually am a real scholar and I know how to do this stuff. And so you can kind of like, you can create a stance for yourself where, even if you had to simplify things in one place, you can, do that, put the terms back in somewhere else to make sure that they know it. Like, that you're comfortable with being able to simplify it for one audience. I think that's great.